I'm a very big fan of using my phone, and many times I land on different battles by different celebrities, different socialites and influencers who start up different fires and different battles against one another. In today's video, I'm going to discuss the fact that you can actually sue someone for reputational damage, you can sue someone for defamation, and I want to open up your eyes in the fact that you can actually bring someone to justice for dragging your name under the mud. So today's video, let's discuss what defamation is, what are the lawsuits concerning defamation, what are the ingredients of defamation, and most importantly, how you can actually bring someone to justice for destroying your reputation in this country concerning social media or any other newspaper outlets. So let's go. Welcome back to Simply Legal. My name is Kahuma, the usual host on this channel, and today we're going to discuss what is called defamation or reputational damage. Now, so many times as a legal person, I always see different people's reputations and names being dragged down the mud because of perhaps something they did or someone just starts up a different fight. Well, let's go to what defamation is in brief. Defamation is the intentional and malicious damage to someone's reputation. Now, as Simply Legal likes to put it, I gave you the Black's Dictionary, but as Simply Legal likes to put it, it is basically you damaging someone's reputation with false information. Now, this is something very important to note. For a lawsuit of defamation to stand, it is important for the information that the third party was giving for it to be false. In other words, if someone goes onto Twitter or X or Instagram or TikTok and then says, oh no lawyer or no counsel Terry, atulimba social media, then if I can indeed prove that this person is giving wrong information about me or what they're stating is actually false information, then I can actually have a lawsuit for defamation against them. So therefore, what are the two types of defamation? We have what's called slander and then we have what's called libel. Now, I'll start with what's called slander. Slander, even in the way here, it's slander. To slander someone is to orally speak or to say defamatory statements against them or what's called false statements against them. Now, I think many times we have watched the different presidential debates between Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden, or let's say Donald Trump. Now, it's no issue, it's no news that different people have brought Donald Trump's name to the mud. They have dragged his name to the mud so many times. Now, if a politician or any other different person on a news outlet states that, you know what, Donald Trump was actually found with, let's say 12 women in his room on the night of 31st December 2023, and indeed it wasn't true, then Donald Trump can actually sue this person for slander. Now, like I keep saying, defamation is the using of false statements to actually destroy someone's name. Now, slander being a form of defamation, it means that you are suing this person for the words that they have said. So in other words, if this politician, like let's say Ted Cruz or Obama, says that Donald Trump is a womanizer and we found him in bed with 13 girls on the night of 31st December 2023, and indeed it wasn't true, he is trying to destroy Donald Trump's reputation, meaning that people will no longer see him as a person of high standing in society. So that's what slander is. Anyone can sue the other for slander. Now, what are the ingredients of slander? Number one, the statement must be false, like I said. All of these come from the elements of it being a false publication or a false statement coming from a third party to the general public, destroying this person's standing in society. So number one, the statement must be false. And then number two, the fact that this person who is being slandered can prove otherwise, that, you know what, I'm Donald Trump and indeed on the night of 31st I was with my family. So the statement must be false. It must have been done in public domain, meaning it must have been used in a media outlet like let's say NTV or NBS or any other form of media outlet in which this person is destroying your name. So let's go to the second form of defamation, which is libel, and then we can go to the ingredients and then we close up this video. So therefore, the second form of defamation or a defamatory statement is what's called libel. Now, we already saw slander, but now in this case, libel is intentional and malicious damage to someone's reputation with the use of written form. Now, I'll give the best and most simple example. Any example of libel is concerning maybe newspapers or an online article, basically anything which is going to put bad publicity on someone's name using any media outlet which is written. So for example, if let's say I'll still give a good example. If, for example, they wrote something bad about, let's say, Donald Trump, or like, let's say, Bobby Wine. Maybe I'll give the best example of Bobby Wine. If they wrote something bad about him concerning the fact that, let's say, he gets his money, let's say, from underground, or like, let's say, he gets his money from, let's say, rebels or terrorists, then if he can indeed prove that, you know what Daily Monitor has written about me is actually wrong. I indeed get my money from my businesses. I have my beach, I have my music, I have my money from politics. So if indeed he can prove that what these people are saying about his sources of income are actually false, then he can actually have a lawsuit against, let's say, Daily Monitor. A very good case in point was the case of President Museveni. President Museveni he actually sued Daily Monitor for. Daily Monitor published a newspaper article stating that President Museveni already knew about the COVID-19 drugs and he already administered them to people who were of wealthy standing or people who were of high standing in society. Now, President Museveni didn't like that, and indeed he sued Daily Monitor for a huge sum of about 300 million. Now, he actually won the lawsuit, I think, late last year or around mid last year, around June. This particular aspect, I want to explain to you the fact that Daily Monitor wrote something bad about the president and he didn't like it. So if the president can sue Daily Monitor for 300 million and he won it, then how about you? So many celebrities have been written about bad things, especially in newspapers like Red Pepper, Onion, whatever the rest have written bad articles about them. Politicians in developed countries are always suing big media houses for publishing bad information about them. So I want you to get the difference. Slander is information or defamatory information which is said against someone in a bad light, and then libel is written information which is said about someone but done in written form, like newspapers, articles, books. Someone can even write something bad about it in form of books. So I wanted you to understand the two major differences or the two major forms of defamation or defamatory statements in which someone can damage your reputation. So let's go to what the ingredients of defamation are. In other words, if you can actually sue someone, if at all someone has said something bad about you, and then we can wrap up this video. Therefore, what are the ingredients for a lawsuit for defamation? Number one, like I said in the initial definition of what defamation is, the statement should be false, meaning the statement must be wrong from the beginning. This person must have maliciously or intentionally wanted to have damaged your reputation. Then number two, this information must be published. So if I say something bad about Donald Trump, or if I say something bad about, let's say, Bobby Wine, or let's say anyone of high standing in society, and I say it just in a whispering way, like I tell so and so, man, can you imagine what this person did? He actually goes underground and gets his money. So if I tell someone in private about something wrong about you, then it's not defamation. Defamation must have that public sense about it. It must have the fact that it has blown up in society and you're no longer going to get business as a result of what I've done. So like I said, number one, the statement must be false and malicious. Number two, it must have been done in public domain. And number three, it must have been said about the plaintiff. Now, I don't need to say this again. In lawsuits, we have what's called the plaintiff. Assume I'm the plaintiff. And we have what's called the defendant. Now, the plaintiff is the person who will sue for defamation. Now, like I'll give this very good example of President Museveni and Daily Monitor. President Museveni in this case was the plaintiff, meaning he's the one suing Daily Monitor. He's suing them through his lawyers, saying that I'm suing Daily Monitor for what they said about me and the COVID-19 drugs. So therefore, this defamatory statement must have been said about the plaintiff. So meaning, if they bundled President Museveni with so many other, or if they bundled Donald Trump with so many other politicians, then his case may be a bit weak if they mention him maybe in one sense and they mention more of the statements which are defamatory about others. So meaning that the statement should be directly towards you. It's your reputation that's being damaged. So meaning that, number one, I just want us to go through it again. The statement must be false and malicious. It must have been intentionally done to damage your reputation. Number two, it must have been done in public domain. And number three, it must have been said about you. It must have been said or written in terms of slander or in terms of libel. Therefore, it is always important to note that for you to prove a case of defamation, that part of intentional maliciousness, many of you may not know what malicious means. Malicious means that someone did it in a sense that they intentionally did it to damage your reputation. They intentionally did it to rob you of what people are thinking about you. Now, if you ever go to court with a case of defamation, we have what's called the reasonable man's test. So meaning that a judge is going to have to look at the fact that, okay, you bring a case of defamation, but you really have a very big reputation to protect. Now, someone like President Museveni definitely has a big reputation to protect. Someone like the Queen of England has a big reputation to protect. Obama, Donald Trump, Bobby Wine. So people who are of high standing in society. If at all you ever satisfy any of these three elements, then it's important to note that this person can actually have a very big lawsuit against you for defamation. So finally, let's go to the big remedies that you, the plaintiff, could have. You, the person who has been defamed. You, it could be Winnie Nuwaji, it could be Spice Diana, it could be anyone who has been defamed in the public sense. Please listen to what the remedies or solutions you have by the law, and then we can finally say bye-bye to this video. So therefore, these are the following remedies as to how you can be able to ask the court to give you damages concerning what the other person has said. Number one, you can actually sue for general damages. Now, I've discussed damages on this video or on this channel. I'm going to leave the link in the description. But generally, general damages are what you get because of what this person said about you. You must prove that indeed your reputation was damaged as a result of what this person either wrote about you or said about you. So general damages are what they give you in the general sense, what is given to you as a result of what happened to you. Maybe you can ask for 50 million, you can ask for 100 million. Also depending on what your reputation is, how big is your reputation, how much was the reputational damage that was done to you, to what extent have you been able to lose your job, what extent have you been able to lose your clients, and that also takes me to what are called special damages. Now, special damages are different from general damages. They are a bit harder to prove because general damages, I could bring a lawsuit for, let's say, criminal trespass. Now, like for the case of Semfuma, I'll also leave the link in the description below. But for a general case of, let's say, criminal trespass, or if someone said anything bad about me and just said, Counsel Terry doesn't know what he talks about on his videos. Now, that one may not be so reputational. The damage may not be so reputational to the extent that I'm losing clients. The clients already know what I'm doing, will already appreciate the work that I'm doing. So general damages, I may get something like 50 million or 60. But special damages, I have to prove so much that, you know what, my lord, as a result of what Semfuma said about me, the fact that I don't know my clients, he went ahead and said, I didn't go to law school, my papers are fake, I did this and this and this and this, I'm lying to the public. So if he says all of that and I can indeed prove that, you know what, my lord, these are my papers, this is my certificate, I went to law school, here is my degree, I went to LDC, so I'm a certified advocate. I also bring proof of my clients. So that means that I am proving my case. I'm proving that indeed Semfuma damaged my reputation, or Daily Monitor wrote something bad about me on New Vision. So in this sense, I will tell the court that, you know what, I want general damages of 50 million and I also want special damages of about 500 million from Daily Monitor, all because of the fact that I'm going to lose clients as a result of what they have said. So there the court, the judge will then say, Counsel Terry is a very good lawyer, or let's say they wrote badly about him and yet he can prove that indeed he's an advocate. So I think he's entitled to, let's say, special damages of about 130 million and general damages of 50 million. So in total, it's going to be 180 million. So that takes me to the final remedy, and that is injunctions. If someone is saying something bad about you, or if they are writing something badly about you, especially defamatory, the way that they're defaming you is through libel, or even if it's through slander, you can pursue what's called an injunction. I've done so many videos about injunctions. I'm not going to dive right into it, but I'm going to still leave the link in the description below. An injunction is basically a document which stops you from doing a certain action. So it can either stop an institution like Daily Monitor, or maybe BBC or CNN, or let's say even a person from stating my name or from saying your name, especially if they're in the habit of keeping on damaging your name. So and so did this, Bobby Wine did this, so and so Donald Trump has done this. So you can ask the court for, you can write an application through your lawyer asking for an injunction to stop either an institution writing something bad about you or someone, an opponent, saying something bad about you, especially if it's damaging your reputation. So I wanted to explain to you everything concerning defamation. I want to explain to you the fact that you can sue anyone for defamation in any sense. You can please win a lot of money for someone damaging your reputation, because there's a common saying that you can easily lose wealth, but at the same time, you cannot easily lose a good name. So thank you for listening to me. And before you just leave, please watch this video on how you can be able to register your company anytime. And also you can also watch this video on the legal steps required to be able to start a successful business in Uganda. Until next time, please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and until next time, bye.